Welcome everybody to this Jewel of the Soul reading for the week of May 21st, 2017. So this is, the symbology did not surprise me. We've just entered into Gemini as of today, the 20th of May. And a Sabian symbol from Gemini came up. Gemini is about a curious mind. It is people who easily engage in conversation. They're interested in other people. They're interested in learning. They're interested in reading and videos, and they can't get enough. They're just endlessly curious. And so really think about that for this coming week. What's interesting with this symbol for this week is Gemini 21, a tumultuous labor demonstration. And to me, this speaks of energy surrounding the underdog. And this past week, actually yesterday, Friday, was the first day that I did not wear a hat after my cancer journey. My hair is still very thin. It's baby fine. I wish you could all just feel it. It's so soft and new. And there is a different sense about me when I walk in the world like this. Something I have never felt before. It feels like I'm coming into a place of who I am at my core. I have dyed my hair blonde for many years because I had so much gray coming through. And now that salt and peppery, silvery gray just wants to make an appearance. It is largely what I see coming through on my head. And I feel this for all of us as somebody who is a messenger for these card readings every week and my daily Wonder Dust readings. I feel like I feel the sense of things that are coming up for those who follow my messages. That's the way it works for mystic messengers on this planet, is that we largely are demonstrating principles that are wanting to come up for many people. And I feel that with this tumultuous labor demonstration, words like outburst and revolution and just a deep longing from within of wanting to come into who you really are, and honestly not giving a shit what anybody else thinks. I don't care what people think of my lack of hair, and it gives me a boldness now that I haven't had before. And after you've been through something like this, you don't really care. You really drop caring about what appearances look like. And that's just it. With this message, it's not about appearances anymore. It's not about keeping up a facade anymore. And so I feel like the messages today for this week are about how to get back to that basic hum underneath that is you. And, we're reaching the midpoint of the year. We're getting closer. With Gemini being a curious mind, it's about exploration. It's about looking at the world as a laboratory and seeing how other people are behaving and reacting to you around you, but you really standing strong in whatever posture it is that feels best to you, regardless of what anybody else is saying or doing or thinking or feeling. This journey is about you. So as a messenger, I want to get you back there. I just saw a beautiful white butterfly go by. This is about you getting back to your purity. And sometimes it takes this form of revolution. There's all of this, all this winding up. There's like 3 of them going on. They're all chainsaws. Nothing ever is by chance in these messages. Never. This is about cutting down all that old, dead stuff and allowing the new, allowing that baby fine you to come through, okay? So it's not so much about, when it says a tumultuous labor demonstration, it's not so much about like fighting and, you know, I gotta have a voice. It's calmer than that. Remember, Gemini, curiosity. Who am I? Who do I want to be in this world? How do I want to walk in this world? That's what really matters the most, okay? And we're coming into this spring full on. And I just really want you to think about, you know, cutting away those facades, cutting away the layers of bark that have built up that perhaps are not you anymore. Remember, my messages are based on Jewel of the Soul. I'm looking for the deepest hues of who your soul really is inside there. Who is that person way deep down? I'm talking like the center colors of a peacock feather. Very deep jewel tones. And so that's why we're getting to this. The other thing I want to mention about this Sabian symbol is it represents the master number 33. And the reason that is Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac. So there's our first three. And it's Gemini 21. 2 plus 1 is 3. So in numerology, I follow Michelle Buchanan. If you'd like to learn more about numerology, she's got a great guidebook that I found helpful, and she can actually lead you through creating or discovering your own numerology on all kinds of facets of your life. It's really an interesting exercise to go through. So the 33 is what Michelle calls the cosmic parent. And this is about service, creativity, and compassion. And what she writes is, these are people, this is an energy of being champions of the underdog, of having a deep responsibility toward others. And the cosmic parent in this case, I feel, because my readings are focused on you, I'm interested in you. The cosmic parent is to you. It is this week about you becoming the champion of that soul level self, which is always evolving, by the way. But there's a fresh new you that wants to come forward and just doesn't care about the facades anymore. So that's what the 33 speaks to. Becoming the cosmic parent to you, and for you to really take some pride in owning your own journey and bringing added levels of discovery and excitement. Think about the Gemini energy this week. Think about curiosity as if you're in the most fantastic scientific laboratory that ever existed, that can look at levels of the human aura as you've never seen them before, that can detect wishes and dreams and inspiration just as easily as you can see it under a microscope. That very much is wanting to come up. And it speaks to the cosmic parent underdog, directly ties to this Gemini 21 of a tumultuous labor demonstration. It's the same message there. Okay, so there's our base for the reading. All right, first card up is from the Life Purpose deck by Doreen Virtue. Again, I expected this deck to come up because of this symbology, the deepest levels of you. Life purpose is always woven into this, okay? So we have light and love. All right, and this card reads, your purpose is to bring divine healing light and love to this world. And when I look at this, there is an openness that this angel is bringing forward. She is looking up. She doesn't have her eyes open. She is within herself in that way. That's why when we go into meditation, the best option for most people is to close the eyes, is to take those nice deep breaths with the eyes closed. For some reason, that's what I'm drawn to about her. It is really shutting off all of the outside static, all of the outside triggers and distractions. We have to get within ourselves to try to figure out these deepest layers. You can't get to the deepest layer. Think about those jewel tones of the peacock feather at the very center. You're out where the brilliant greens are in that feather, and you want to get down to those deep, dark, beautiful, rich colors, those tones. And you can't do that if you're looking around. So this is where you take the Gemini energy, but you turn it in. So all that curiosity, all that wonder, things like, as I brought up, studying the numerology guidebook from Michelle Buchanan, allowing yourself to be led to whatever feels right to discover more about you. Because I feel like that's what this angel's kind of saying to me here, is it's more about self-discovery. It's more about shutting off all of the stuff going on in our outside world and turning that Gemini curiosity and gaze inward. And there's nothing wrong with that. As I posted in one of my Wonder Dust readings earlier this week, it occurred to me that the word selfish, we have a very negative connotation about that word. And it's part of my mission to redefine that word. And I think about the paraphrase, what came up was the paraphrase for if you give a man a fish, he can eat for a month or whatever. And then if you teach him to fish, essentially he can continue to feed himself. I'm not remembering the exact words, but you know the one I mean. And so think about that story, and then the word selfish. Selfish. This is about feeding yourself. Because the thing is, it's like the air mask on the airplane. I always say this. You got to put it on yourself first. And that is the best service as a cosmic parent, as I talked about in the intro, the number 33, master level. No one is going to do that for you except you. So when we're distracted and we're trying to take care of everybody else and we're trying to catch fish for everybody else, and we're trying to make sure that everybody's got what they need and that they're all good, in some ways that's not of service to them. Because how are they going to then learn those lessons that they need to learn or those skills that they need in this life? You definitely, for sure, want to love and support those people you care about and giving them, whether it's some financial support or some guidance. Like I think about my son, about to go into his first part-time job this summer. And, I was giving him some guidance this morning. But I wasn't exactly laying it out for him exactly like this, even though he kept asking me to. I'm like, no, you've got to come up with the list of questions. This is your journey, and this is part of your learning. But I'm giving you the guidance to just get that step going. And I'm sure he will define it in his own way. So I'm learning right along with you, because I would say that I've been somewhat of a helicopter parent in the past. And that's another gift of Cancer. You get focused on yourself really quick. Like, all right, my family's got it. They're okay. You need to focus on you. So I'm giving you that same message without you needing a cancer diagnosis. You don't need to go there. I'm stubborn apparently and needed that. So it's about that selfish fish. It's about you fishing for yourself. Again, to come to those deeper layers of the peacock feather. Okay? And just being open to what you're led to figure out. I do feel like there are tools out there. There are things, this is Gemini energy. There are things like numerology, like the Myers-Briggs personality test. I always found that interesting. Anything that you are led to discover more about yourself, perhaps using another system that someone, wants to offer, and for you that chose this card specifically, I'm going to make a special offer to you. My system that I find really helpful to give me a pathway right now is the Major Arcana of the Tarot. I douse for that every day as to what's in my best and highest good, which archetype really will serve me to embody today. And I'm willing to do a quick douse for you on which of those major arcana as just one tool. I'm not saying that's the end-all be-all, but there's something in you that just wants self-inquiry, okay? Really enjoying the time to get to know a new level of you. Again, the teams here are leading me back to my hair. This new baby soft layer of you that is afraid to come out. Now this angel with her eyes closed, that is the ultimate invulnerability. I don't care what comes at me. I'm just closing my eyes. The word surrender comes up. Letting go. All easier said than done. But that's what this level of self-inquiry could bring. Okay? So just be curious this week. If there's something that sparks your interest, perhaps it's a book, perhaps it's somebody's video, perhaps you're listening to anybody's card readings out there. There's tons of them. One I really like myself is Jove Tarot. She is a fabulous reader. She's one of the few people that I allow to read my cards. I don't know. Astrology, anything that brings you deeper levels of coming to understand yourself. And also keep in mind, you don't necessarily need to go to somebody else for that. You can sit with a journal, or you can sit in front of your computer and you can simply ask the question, what is this deeper level of me that, wants my level of curiosity, that wants to come forward, that wants to be seen, that's baby soft new, that I'm not seeing, and it wants to come forward and be explored, especially during this time of Gemini. Okay? So with my offer for you specifically that chose this card, just reach out to me through a private Facebook message. You can find me on Facebook through Call of the Wild Energy Therapy, because I'm not always good at looking at YouTube comments. So it's best for you to reach out to me so I know I see you, okay? Or you can send me an email to callofthewildenergytherapy@gmail.com. And I'll just do a quick douse. It's very quick. I'll give you a picture of the card and a little bit about the card, just to get you, perhaps give you a piece of information. But it's really upon you, and I want to encourage you that this is a really fun thing. I mean, I happen to be somebody who adores self-inquiry. I always have. I love coming to learn different parts of myself. But something fresh and new is wanting to come forward for you. And that is exciting. Okay. So let me get organized here. Put this card down. The next card was from the Animal Medicine deck. And this is the salmon energy, but in the reverse position. Okay? So, I want to read you. The salmon energy is about wisdom and inner knowing, and really trusting that sense of self inside. And I want to read you the contrary message. And because this is a general reading, I'd just like you to see if there are certain parts of this that speak to you. Considering the theme that we have of being the cosmic parent to ourselves, and of this revolution, this new, it's like the wheel turns around and this new part of yourself comes forward that's very deep and jewel toned, like the center of that peacock feather. Okay? And with it in the contrary position, the messages are very much about perhaps you're not, or you're ignoring this sense of inner knowing. So just see if any of these words pop out to you, okay? And you can feel free to back up the recording and listen again. If salmon has floated belly up into your cards today, recklessness may have kept you from achieving a goal. Are you ignoring the wise advice of others or your own inner voice of wisdom? Contrary salmon may be telling you to be still for a time and find the flow again. Ask yourself where you became distracted or confused. Then imagine returning to the place you last felt certain of yourself. Feeling a sense of serenity means you are tapping your inner knowing and wisdom again. If you have been seeking the approval of others by being a follower instead of listening to your personal knowing, it may be time to reclaim your own authority. Are you stubbornly rejecting the truth of a situation, trying to be right or in control, and overriding your instinctual wisdom or inner knowing? If so, get out of your head and get back to the wisdom found in your heart and feelings. Like salmon, people sometimes need to backtrack upstream to see where life's meandering tributaries flowed away from the original headwaters of their certainty, wisdom, instinct, and inner knowing. So with this card, as I was reading that, I was thinking about what came to mind was the post that I did actually earlier this morning about the value of Gemini energy. I mean, it's super strong for this week's reading because we're just headed into it. And when new zodiac energy comes in, it's like, bam, it's like out of a cannon. That's the way that I experience it. There's a lot of momentum. The beauty of Gemini, it's known as the twins. And as an astrologer, what I feel is that it's the two sides of the brain bringing the best of themselves. Now, what that talked about in that reading was coming back to the heart and the feelings. But a pathway to get there is when the two sides of the brain begin to work much like the yin and the yang. It brings the best of that assertive, very analytical side, the masculine, as well as the intuitive, amazing, open, creative, flowing feminine. And both sides, as I always talk about, we need both of these energies to live a fulfilled life here on earth. The feminine might sound wonderful to many of you. It certainly does to me. And it's true that the feminine energy is currently rising on this planet, not to take over, but to bring into balance with the masculine. Because there has been an overabundance of the masculine energy for thousands of years. And now we're coming into a place where those energies are going to equalize a little bit. So in your life and in the world right now, we're seeing very strong masculine energy rise up. And because of this card, I'm wondering if you are seeing in your own life and in your own behavior a sense of wanting to kind of nail things down. I want to have a plan. I want to know. It's very da-da-da. It's very earthbound. It doesn't really rely on the intuitive at all. And it's very much about winners and losers. It's about competition. It's about achievement, driving achievement. It's about being analytical. It's about there being scientific reasons for things. It's about there being one path, one right answer. And I feel with the reverse of this and the Gemini energy, that revolution within you, again from our symbol of Gemini 21, it's like it's revving up. This feminine energy really wants your attention this week and wants you to, you think about a salmon swimming upstream. For you, it's like the salmon is turning around and looking you right in the face and going deep within, coming back on itself, okay? Because there's a lot of masculine energy playing out in our world right now. We are seeing very shadowy sides coming out. Winners and losers. Massive polarity playing out. And that has an effect on all of us as a collective. But do you hear the sound of my voice? Like, there's this gentleness that I want for you as a messenger to you here right now. You're sitting right here with me. This gentleness really wants your attention and wants you to see, are you shutting yourself down? Are you nailing yourself down too much? I even want to say nailing yourself to the cross that's coming up. You know, having a cross to bear. Like, oh, I have to do this. And it can be a woe is me spirit, which we all have, believe me, I do too. But knowing that light and that inspiration is always available to you. And that the very best thing that you could do for yourself this week is to turn that salmon, that inner salmon around. And think about the colors of a salmon. I just love the pinks and the blues and grays and even greens that come out in their skin. And to enjoy those hues for yourself instead of always, needing to have everything in just the right order and very prescribed, that you can go with the flow of that salmon within. It's a very subtle message for you this week, but yet very powerful. That there's, to turn back to our inner knowing is to say, you know best. It's like me going to my oncologist and saying, yeah, I know you want to tell me about my prognosis, but I'm going to stop you. I don't want to know, because I know best. And you do too, for you. And it makes me feel like I almost see the salmon at this crossroads where the river splits, is what I'm seeing. And it's like you don't know which path to take, and things can get overwhelming, and I keep getting a sense of, but there's got to be a right answer. Like, Kat, could you just tell me the right answer? And I can't. That has to be your inner knowing, your full-on sense of what that deepest part of you wants. Again, think about the peacock feather. I keep coming back to it. We're oftentimes at that outer green level, and it's about really zeroing in to get down to those deeper, deep blue, purple color, almost black. Because the colors are that rich, that saturated. But when you're living out at the edges, you're really distracted. You're really taking your cues from everybody else. You're really taking your cues from this crazy masculine, perverse masculine energy. It's over the top. And the reason I want to bring up that it's doing that is because it's fighting for its place in this world. Because the gentler, feminine energy of people seeing each other, people accepting each other, people having compassion for one another, no matter who they are, no matter if they have hair or not, no matter what their sexual orientation is, or their gender orientation, or their beliefs, that there's room in this world for all of it. And that masculine energy that has dominated our world for so long, thousands of years, is feeling very defensive at the moment. Like, but wait, I have a place here. And so this is how it happens. It's just like when a new zodiac energy comes in. It just powers through like a cannon because it's making its place in the world. But the fact that the feminine energy is rising, the essence of feminine energy is flow and gentleness and creativity. And there being many different ways to solve things. And there not being one answer. And so by that nature, it doesn't come in like the masculine energy does. The masculine energy has a lot of pure horsepower. And so I'm just giving you all this for some context. And I don't want this to feel, for you to take it personally, for you to think that I'm giving you some ribbing over, that you shouldn't, take charge in your life and do things. There is a place for masculine energy, and it is necessary. Cripes, we wouldn't get anything done without it. Sometimes you need some get up and go and like making a list. We can't live in La La Land all the time. We don't get much done there. It's cool, but we don't get much done. So, but it's just allowing that inner part of you, that flow part, that creativity part, that not being nailed down. For you, that's what keeps coming up. Like there's one way, there's an answer here and I need it. That perhaps looking to others for answers. And it's just not, it's not really wanting to happen that way for you this week. That other part of you is rising and wanting you to look within and feel what feels right. And that's the beauty of our emotional guidance system. We know, as that said, looking to your heart, looking to your feelings, when I read the description. That's the emotional guidance system. We know when something doesn't feel right. We feel bad. We feel so anxious we could jump out of our skin. We have a bad feeling. That's not in alignment with soul. And that's different from the anxious, excited feeling, which is butterflies in the stomach, where, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, but what I know is that I feel so drawn to go ahead and do X. That's different. That's totally soul. So I do want you to see the difference there. But when you get that feeling like, oh, I shouldn't do this, like this doesn't feel right, that's your sign. That's your symbol. That's your feeling. And so it's getting into tune. That's what I think the salmon is saying to you in this reverse position, is getting in tune with your own inner flow again. And don't look exterior for the answer. And don't expect that the set of answers that you might be looking at outside of yourself are even all of the choices that are available. If you ask yourself within for more options, like I want more options here, what else could I do? It will come. Sometimes I just sit with a piece of paper, I get out in nature, get my feet on the ground, my bare feet, and ask that question. And sure enough, I just start writing options. And some of them are crazy, but they're options, okay? So I made an offer to the first card, folks, and I want to make one to you too. So I feel like my crystal team would like to help you. So if you would like, again, I'm not giving you the answers. I'm giving you a vibe, because these are general card readings. And I just want to give you an energy possibility of what kind of your higher self is, that inner part. Here's the white butterfly again. That inner part, that baby soft, baby new, the white butterfly that wants your attention this week, that wants your curiosity to get out of that being nailed up to the cross sort of feeling. Okay, so if you want me to do that for you, no pressure, no cost on this, but I do have to keep it brief. Just send me a message through Facebook. You can find me at Call of the Wild Energy Therapy on Facebook, or you could send me an email, callofthewildenergytherapy at gmail.com. I'm not always great about looking at the YouTube comments, so it's probably best to reach me that way. Just let me know if you picked this card and you would like a crystal energy just as a suggested vibe that might help. Okay? All right. Our final card is from the Andara. Sometimes I don't say it right. Andara crystal deck. And we have Andarian Peridot. Oh my gosh, I love the Peridot. This card literally took my breath away when I looked at the back of it, because I just love, it's got this this streak of this purpley pink, which for me is Kuan Yin energy. And I'm going to read you what this says. Radiant being of light, you carry a sacred divine flame within you. Allow me to ignite this divine fire, purifying all illusions of limitation, so you may emerge as the free, sovereign being that you truly are. My energy will help you to let go of struggle and suffering, and will create a more open, welcoming, receptive, and receiving nature. Wow, your reading is very much like the last one that I just did. Open, welcoming, receptive, receiving. Remember, with a tumultuous labor demonstration symbol, I said this isn't about fighting. Are you fighting? Are you using words like battling or conquering or winning, or is there some kind of struggle going on that you feel you have to come out on top? Because that's the part that wants to kind of be put aside this week. And again, Gemini energy, curiosity about the exact opposite for you. It's like the pendulum swings over to the other side of purifying all illusions of limitation. I almost feel like you need to sit with a journal every day this week. And for those that have a fire pit, because I'm really drawn, when I was reading this, I'm drawn to the words divine fire, because fire is thought of, and it is masculine-oriented energy, but there is, within all of the elements, there are masculine and feminine aspects. And the feminine, which these words of open, welcoming, receptive, receiving, that's feminine energy. That's the chalice, receiving. The feminine version within fire, the feminine aspects of fire are that inner blue flame. When you look at a flame, it's that inner blue. Because the feminine ends up being the innermost. The masculine lights the way and just blazes, like you think about the burning down of a forest, and the masculine just rips through that, and the feminine is the final embers of really bringing that life to an end so that something new can be reborn. It is the purposefulness of that destruction in order to bring a whole new crop of life forward. It is necessary. But you need the power of the masculine. And boy, I'm getting for all the cards this week, all the messages. It's because it's the cosmic parent. It's turning to that feminine part of us and not allowing the masculine to lead the way this week. Give it a break. Just let it go to the wayside. And allow, you think about that inner blue flame. Getting in front of a fire, for those of you that have a fire pit, getting by fire this week could be amazing. And focusing on that blue flame and just kind of contemplating, what's coming through? What's your message for me? Or sitting with a journal if you have a fireplace in your home, even if it's hot. Throw open the windows and set a fire in that fireplace and look deep into those blue flames and see what they've got to tell you. Because there's something deeper. It's deeper. The masculine for everybody this week wants to have a break. It's overworked at the moment. Globally. It's just completely off the charts. And so we need to bring more of that inner blue flame up, all of us, to help kind of even out the energies and create a little bit of homeostasis. Like, let's get a little balanced here, people, and stop tripping off the wires everywhere we walk. So yeah, think about areas where, if there's something that you're battling, something that you feel like you're in a competition over or what have you, that, there's deeper power within, that winners and losers becomes not important. It's just not important. And I can give that to you from the perspective of somebody handed a cancer diagnosis. There's many things in life that just become not important. And battling cancer, kicking its ass, all of that, no. That from the beginning never sat with me. And the thing with that inner knowing, the divine inner blue flame says, I'm not doing it like that. I hear you. That works for some people, but not for this gal. So it's about, I'm telling you this because I think it's about you. There's ways we can draw boundaries. We often think that drawing boundaries is like we're shutting people off. But instead, we're drawing these sort of, I would call them, I said to a dear friend this week, it's like drawing soft boundaries, which doesn't make any sense to our human brain, but I've been feeling it lately, where it's like a boundary more for yourself. It's not a boundary against other people. It's not a boundary to keep them out. It's a boundary to keep yourself focused on your own shop and in your own sense of knowing, your wisdom, your own sense of what feels right to you, using your emotions and everything, all the tools inside your body to say, yeah, that doesn't feel right. And I'm not going there. And so, yeah, I will correct people when they say, oh, you're battling cancer. I literally stop them and say, wait, I don't do it like that. The cancer was the greatest gift for me. It brought me to my edges to bring me to this new place that I was ready for. And I couldn't have gotten there any other way, not as effectively. So that's called creating a soft boundary to me, is to own your truth and speak up when people are crossing a line that is there for you. It is your light that you stand in. It is your sense of being that you've created. And there's something in you that wants to come up regarding fire. You know, because I feel very fiery saying this. But there's feminine fire, which is not clipped, and it's not about winners and losers. It's about you simply drawing the line in the sand and saying, nope, I can take in what you're saying, but I don't have to own that. So that inner fire becomes more about you deciding for yourself. That's where the soft boundary is. It doesn't have to be a sort of attack, if you will, that comes out. It can be something that, nope, you just take it in, and your inner wisdom, it's like it goes through a decision cycle inside you, and you're like, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm out. You know, and I've made some decisions in my life of, you know, things I read or things I listen to that I'm like, no, I'm really done with that. Interactions that I have with certain people. You know, I did a really powerful thing this week, a realization that I had of somebody in my life that I literally cut the cords, because I'm like, I can't, I got to get out of this loop of thinking that I can save her, or that I'm there to prop her up, or that I'm there to be her constant support. She has to do that herself. And you see, that's my soft boundary to myself, to say, Kat, no, you got to take care of you right now. You got to be on your nutritional journey. Nobody else has got to do that. And nobody has to be with you on it. I don't need anybody's motivation. I don't need anybody checking in on me. I got it all. I don't need that. And I feel like that message is for you. That you don't need to either prop people up, like, oh, you've fallen, let me get you up and dust you off, and then let's go have some coffee and you'll feel better, and what can I do to make you feel better? You don't need that, and you also don't need other people doing that to you. We can love and support without being the Band-Aid for them. You know, that in itself is a soft boundary, like I'm talking about, is you deciding that, nope, I'm just all in on this for myself, because that is the best example and the most brilliant and resonant vibration that you can put out into this planet at this time. And it directly affects everyone around you. When you are shining just because you know you're equipped, you don't need anybody to prop you up, and you don't need to prop anybody else up. They got it. They've got it. And if it looks like they don't, wow, they're really going through something where they're really going to get it. And they're probably not going to screw it up again. They might, but probably not if they're aware and awake. And really wanting to do some self-inquiry on that. And draw that line for themselves. It's about everybody drawing their own self-boundaries and saying, yeah, I can't take that as my truth. I was speaking up to a doctor and saying, yeah, I don't want to hear about the symptoms, because my journey's different. And indeed it was for me. It was like nobody I know. So, yeah, coming into your own, defining for yourself, not propping anybody else up, not needing to be propped up yourself, and getting away this week from the winners and the losers, from the idea of battle, and instead reaching into, because fire feels important for you that chose this card. Fire feels important. So yeah, I'm thinking about, because the other two cards I gave a special offer, so I want to give one to you too. I feel like I want to pull a card for you out of a special deck that I have when I was dipping into my blue flame right after my diagnosis. It's a very special deck that I don't use for card readings for everybody, but it feels important for you. And a dear friend sent it to me, and there is this divine blue flame energy to it with the artwork. It's very special artwork on it. So if you wish, you can contact me through Facebook on the Call of the Wild Energy Therapy Facebook page. You could send me a message through that and let me know if you're interested in me picking a card. I'll just briefly give you a picture of the card and the basic message for like what part of the blue flame, what, kind of a direction, a proposed direction to think about this week, to ponder. I'm really wanting to make this card reading this week very personal to people. I'm not going to do this every week, but I feel it this week. Like I want to help people. If something I can give as a message could just get you, it's like I take you by the shoulders and maybe point out a direction to at least explore. Remember, Gemini energy is about exploration. I'm not saying that it's the only answer. Gemini doesn't have one answer. It loves many things, okay? But the energy is potent right now. So if you want that card reading or a card pull, I'm not going to say it's a reading, okay? But either send me the message through Facebook, or you could email me at callofthewildenergytherapy@gmail.com. And I'll get to those as quickly as I can, okay? So there we have it. That's everything. Feminine, rising up, but as part of this, a tumultuous labor demonstration. Isn't that fascinating? But it's that side of the feminine. After going through all your readings now, I'm realizing it's the revolution that comes through that very powerful part of the feminine. We think of the feminine energy, the feminine sex even, as being so soft and gentle and like, I'll take it, give it to me, I'll carry it. But that's not the feminine that wants to come through and wants your sense of curiosity applied to it this week. It's the powerful feminine, which is like in the tarot, that is like the high priestess. She knows all. She oversees everything. She's all-knowing. But she sits in the back behind the curtain and, isn't like right in people's faces. But there's an equal sense of power to it, which is all the feminine is wanting right now on this planet, is a balancing of the masculine with the masculine energy. All right, there we go, folks. So have a good week and do some self-introspection. It is always a delight and my pleasure to be of service to you also. Take care.